Hey everybody, it's Party Elite. Welcome you back to our Planet Zoo franchise mode Let's Play. We're gonna dive right back into Elite Zoo South. As always, very excited to be back with Planet Zoo. Again, a bit of a strange week behind us this week as things got really interesting for life and the channel in general. There's some cool stuff that'll be coming out very soon. I know I say this often, but that's just very exciting to be able to say that often because there's a lot going on, and it'll all be revealed over the next couple of weeks. Some of it, if you've been keeping up on Twitter or in the Discord or with the channel community tab, you'll have seen sort of be releasing over the last couple of days actually. But apart from that as well, of course, there is all that Jurassic World Evolution 2 coverage that you might have seen on the channel over the course of this past week as well. Like I said, when we came back from our long hiatus, there's a lot in the works, and I guess it's all kind of come all at once, and I've been very excited to share all the stuff that I've been sharing. Many of you who've watched Planet Zoo checked out some of the Jurassic World Evolution 2 coverage. I'm going to start calling it JWE2 because it's just faster to say. But many of you went out and checked some of the JWE2 coverage out and enjoyed that, and I've been getting a lot of comments with regards to how I'm going to balance the coverage of stuff, and rest assured it's something that I'm trying to figure out and nail. I want to make sure that Planet Zoo, because we still have a lot to do in Planet Zoo, I want to make sure Planet Zoo doesn't fall by the wayside, but I also do want to check out JWE2 and showcase something fresh and new, and it's very exciting. There's some really cool mechanics and systems in that game and a lot of learning opportunities as well, and it's a topic I'm also passionate about. I'm pretty big on dinosaurs, and I mean the Jurassic Park franchises. I mean, It's a weird thing to talk about because for me, when I talk about the Jurassic Park franchise, I'm talking about Jurassic Park 1, 2, and 3, and even then, the first one is my favorite. But sorry, I digress. That's neither here nor there. The reason why this Planet Zoo episode is a little delayed beyond just kind of like life things and all kinds of wild stuff going on for the channel is also because of JWE2 and how there was an episode that I wanted to release on Tuesday, which is generally when an episode of Planet Zoo comes out, but because it was still kind of pre-released for JWE2, I wanted to try and get some coverage out there and kind of showcase the game a bit more so that people can kind of see how it works and plays before the game released. And I got a lot of great feedback. I got a lot of comments with regards to balancing Planet Zoo and JWE2 for the next little while, because I did pose that question. I threw that question out there. I'm going to throw it out over here as well, just to get a temperature check on how people feel about, the balancing of the two games. What I'm thinking for the near future, at least, is that I'll probably change. I don't know. Nothing I'm about to say is set in stone just quite yet. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still looking at people's feedback and thoughts and opinions, and then accordingly I'll course correct and adjust and make a final call. But I'm thinking for the next handful of weeks of doing one episode of Planet Zoo every week and 2 episodes of JWE2 every week. Jurassic World Evolution 2 is just new. It's something new to check out. I'm excited to check it out and show it off and stuff like that. And there is also what was the word I'm looking for? It also has a shorter, like what I'm doing right now with JWE2 has a shorter runway than what we're doing with Planet Zoo. Planet Zoo's franchise mode is like 200 plus episodes, whereas with Jurassic World Evolution 2, I'm doing this special mode. It's called Chaos Theory, which I think each season, so to speak, would last maybe 10, maybe 20 episodes at most. So it would kind of be like an on and off thing where it's like, okay, I want to cover this season with a 2-to-1 ratio, and then maybe the next season is a 1-to-1 ratio. Like, it's something I can evolve. Wordplay obviously entirely intended there. It's something I can evolve as time goes on, and I can finesse the time distribution. But for now, with JWE2 having just come out and with me thinking it's going to be a shorter, again, runway on that series, I think I'll do a 2-to-1 ratio, because the sooner, a way of thinking about it, I suppose, is that the sooner that coverage is done, the sooner we can come back to a full Planet Zoo schedule, arguably, right? Something to think about. But I do think a 2-to-1 ratio will work nicely. So that's 2 Jurassic World Evolution, 1 Planet Zoo. We'll see how it works out, and obviously it's mutable. Like I said, I'm not set in stone. Nothing I'm saying is set in stone. I'm saying it out loud so that I can get feedback and I can work based off that feedback. But at the end of the day, doing both in my schedule is going to be like really bad for my health because I can do it, but at what cost? And I say that jokingly, obviously, but it is I'm pretty much at my limit as far as stuff I can schedule is concerned. So that's why I'm starting to like trying to figure out how we can play this, I guess. Anyway, I think that's enough there is to say on that. The missing Thursday episode, yeah, because the Thursday nothing went up on the channel. Wednesday nothing went up on the channel. It's because this week has been absolutely wild, but I've already touched on that. I just wanted to let you all know what was going on because I do like to keep you guys kind of up to date with what's happening. I know many of you don't have Twitter or aren't in the Discord or don't check either often. That is where you can find updates, of course, regularly whenever there's a scheduling shift. I do try to share, but I also like to mention it in a follow-up video when it comes up for those of you that didn't see and weren't sure what was going on, but that's what's been going on. Hopefully we can get a bit of a normal schedule going because I would like that. I'm the type of person that likes a bit of structure in their life, so I would like I would like structure back, please. But at the same time, I'm excited that the reason it's not there is because there's a lot of cool stuff going down. Anyway, sorry, this introduction has lasted more than long enough. My apologies. Thank you for your patience. I just wanted to let y'all know what was going on. There is a slight change of plans. Now, I went through my comments and my messages on Patreon and stuff, and I've got the sponsor board list down. I've got plans for my my beauty pass and all that stuff in place. But then the folks over at Frontier decided to reward us, I suppose, and celebrate the 2-year anniversary of Planet Zoo. 2 years. 2 years? Has it really been 2 years? I guess so. I still remember making jokes about entering the new decade. Geez, it has been 2 years. Oh, ooh, I like this a lot. I like the way the lighting works over here. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by our work over here. But yeah, as I was saying, oh man, no, I do. Oh, I like that a lot, actually. Sorry. You can see why I'm getting distracted. I really like how the lighting works on this tusk, which, by the way, yes, I understand, does look more like a mammoth tusk than it does look like an elephant tusk, but that's okay. The tusk was the big thing. I was never going to get like the exact shape that I wanted while struggling with the pathing system and all that kind of stuff, and also trying to make it a nice overall shape too. So I totally see what you're saying with regards to the tusk shape, but I'm fine with it because I think it does still get the message across and the idea across. Also, it does kind of look like an elephant trunk, which I quite like. And this occurred to me today. I'm not saying, oh yeah, I'd planned this all along. I'm not going to pretend to have this extra layer. I just noticed that I quite like that it kind of looks like you've got the elephant's like head over here, and you've kind of got this like trunk shape coming down from over here. Very, very abstract, obviously. But I do quite like it. Anyway, my constant distractions aside, the folks over at Frontier decided that we're going to celebrate the anniversary of Planet Zoo. So I would like to hopefully still get around to doing the work that I've been planning on doing, but there is something new that I wanted to take a look at today. And when I say something new, it's a couple of things that are new actually that they've given as free updates for this anniversary celebration. Sorry if I sound like I'm all over the place. That's because I'm a little all over the place. Like I said, it's been an intense week, and when I say that, it's actually been an intense couple of like months now. So I apologize for that, but I mean, I'm clicking on the zoo tab when I want to be clicking on facilities, because the first free thing they gave us was a facility, and it's this new bakery. Bernie's Bakes Food Shop. So this is a completely new facility. It's a completely new like spot to eat at, which is cool. More sweets, I assume. I'm curious to see exactly how it works. And they've been showing this little. That is cute. That is really cute. Oh, that's amazing. Man, I wish I'd come up with stuff like this. And I assume all these parts are in the game as separate elements. If you go to construction. I'm assuming cupcake is a safe. Oh, would you look at that? And of course, it's got, I assume, colors that you can change. Oh my God, are you kidding me? This is amazing. When I saw them mention the stuff they gave for free, I was like, yeah, this is some pretty involved stuff. It's not like tiny things that they're giving for free. That's pretty cool. And then unfortunately slash fortunately, the timing was very strange. I was torn because I wanted to do an episode for the anniversary, but at the same time, there's all the Jurassic World stuff happening. It's been it's been extra wild this week, but I'm glad that we have today's episode to kind of look at these a little bit, because these are big. These are a lot of parts that, you know what, I could have actually used some of this for some of the spaces I built in our North America DLC showcase. But seeing some of that does make me think about our space over here. So this is what I mean. Oh, actually, you know what? Oh, I guess the stuff has been around for a while. I feel like today's episode is largely going to be dominated by some of this stuff over here, just taking a look at some of the new stuff that we have and how we might be able to use it. You know, this is some very clever use of pieces that we've always had available. Man, I guess that's just it, right? That's why these guys work at Frontier, because they're operating on a whole other level. Oh, what's it? An air conditioning unit? Did we always have that? Is this new? Has this been around? Base game, I guess so. I just never thought to implement it. And that's one of the things, to avoid like part count creep and to avoid the frames dropping more than they already do. I try not to get distracted by the little things like trims and air conditioning units and stuff like that, because it'll just add to our part count, and that'll just make things significantly worse. Anyway, so that's one new thing is Bernie's Bakes. Sorry, I keep forgetting Bernie's Bakes? Bernie's Bakes Food Shop. So that's one new thing, and we'll take a look at it. Maybe we'll put it down somewhere, and we'll take a look at what all it has to offer. But funnily enough, somehow that's the lesser of the new things they've added, because the other new thing they've added is the black and white ruffed lemur. And I thought it'd be nice to get the lemur in, read up on the lemur, get the lemur in, because it's a new animal. But I imagine it'll get along with the red ruffed lemur and the ringtail lemur just fine. So we can add them without having to worry about building a new space for them. And I quite like it, because they'll kind of fit in nicely, right? Look at got our red ruffed lemur, right? We've got our ringtail lemur, right? And then we've got our black and white ruffed lemur. Like, it works perfectly. We've got a little Madagascar corner over here. They got a little Madagascar space up over here. Again, there's no other way to put it. It works nicely. And so I thought we'd use this space. We'd read up the Zoopedia entry and get a couple of them added in here and check out how they're liking the space, if we have to make any other adjustments to the space, because we have quite a few animals in here, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just look at this crowd over here, right? So we might need to make some adjustments to it. And we'll see if we get the time lapse in with the beauty pass and stuff in this session or the session after that, or if we do it without a time lapse. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Over to Zoopedia first, though. Let's take a look at our black and white ruffed lemur. Honestly, I think it's pretty cool that they just added a bunch of free stuff, including a whole animal. I mean, that's kind of like this game's MO. It's not like a small addition, right? Now, granted, of all the animals they could have possibly added, this is probably one of the easier ones to add, because I imagine the rig, like the skeleton, stays the same. I imagine the animation set stays the same, or is like 98% the same as the existing lemurs. The model is probably also similar enough that they don't need to adjust too much, right? So as far as investment is concerned, it's not the biggest investment. It's not like they added, I don't know, I can't think of an example, but it's not like they added an animal that just doesn't exist in the in the game already to a degree. You know what I mean? But it is still cool to see the addition. That's not to downplay the addition of a new animal for free. I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, sorry. The black and white ruffed lemur, the Varesia variegata. Critically endangered, population in wild is between 1,000 and 10,000. The black and white ruffed lemur, or Varesia variegata, is a species of primate native to the eastern rainforests of Madagascar. As the name implies, its coat is made up of distinct black and white patches. The underside, head, paws, and tail are black, while limbs, back, and the distinctive ruff are white. Black and white ruffed lemurs are 20 inches to 22 inches long, with a tail of around 24 inches in length. Like in other lemurs, females are slightly larger than males. The species is classed as critically endangered, with its population further decreasing due to poaching and habitat loss. They are frequently hunted by locals for their meat, while at the same time their habitat is fragmented further due to continuous deforestation for slash and burn agriculture. Well, that's unfortunate. So slash and burn agriculture, basically what you do is, if memory serves me right, I hope I'm not describing this incorrectly, but so forest fires, oh boy, how do you hear me out first? It's like, how do you say this? Hear me out first. Forest fires are actually good, because the aftermath of the fire helps fertilize the soil. No, actually, let me say that differently. Forest fires used to be good, back when they were caused naturally, back when it wasn't a cigarette butt or a firecracker or something like that, mixed in with the tremendous heat that we get because of climate change and the dryness that we get, that like every forest now is a tinderbox waiting to go off at like the slightest animal breathing wrong or person stepping on the wrong twig, and all of a sudden the next thing you know, everything's up in flames. I'm not talking about forest fires as they happen nowadays. I'm talking about, more natural levels of forest fires, where you'd get a forest fire, it would be somewhat contained, but then in the aftermath of the fire, you would have much more fertile soil, and from that fertile soil, you'd have, you'd have the cycle continue, right? Now, we do, for farming, controlled slash and burn agriculture, which involves burning down. So now, again, this is where, if memory serves me right, because I studied this, oh my god, like 15 years ago now or something, so I could be a little fuzzy. But my understanding is that you burn down a patch of forest, of woodland, and then you use that fertile soil that's been made extra fertile because of the burning process, and you grow crops there for however long. Right? And as you're growing crops there for however long, you are reforesting another part of your land. But then eventually you go back there, you burn all that down, and then you start farming there. And as you're farming there, you regrow in the, like, reforest the first patch that you'd burned down however many years ago, right? So it's a cycle that has you moving from place to place. If memory serves me right? So please take it with a grain of salt. Don't hesitate to verify what I'm saying there, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate. Problem is, a couple of things with that is that, for one, it's not like you're leaving a forest be. You're not letting it develop its ecosystem, and it's not just standing there for, decades to centuries, to become home to a bunch of animals. So it does, the reforestation element doesn't necessarily counteract the deforestation element of it. Beyond that as well, we've talked about this in the past, when we were talking about, I think it was the Formosan bear. So this was Elite Zoo North almost a year ago now, if not a bit more maybe. But the thing about reforestation is, when our reforestation efforts have flaws to them, and you can see them in satellite imagery and stuff. You can see the issue, and that's that a lot of the time reforestation is sort of like monoculture stuff. Like, there's not enough variety or diversity. It's not being done properly. It's typically reforestation for other purposes. So a lot of the time we'll plant trees, but we're planting them so that we can cut them down and make, furniture or whatever. Like, and again, responsible logging is a thing. Responsible logging is very important to a lot of countries' entire economies. It's important to our lifestyles and stuff like that. Like, a lot of the stuff that we need wood for is acquired responsibly. However, it's just an important thing to note when it comes to the conversation about reforestation, is that there are ways to do it that work, sure, but they're, by and large, reforestation efforts aren't doing what they need to do. A lot of the time with this kind of stuff, the conversation kind of gets tucked under the rug. It's like, oh, but look, we're making so much progress. And it's like, well, are we though? And that's the only reason I bring it up, because because I like going on tangents apparently, but we find ourselves talking about reforestation when coming out of the slash and burn and deforestation conversation. But it's a very problematic kind of a thing, where we go, well, we planted some trees, and so that's great. We've counteracted the deforestation. No, because the deforestation is of forests that have been around for centuries, right? And that have grown ecosystems and built, I mean, like, think about it for yourself, right? Like, if your house got torn down by a tornado or by anything really, and then somebody else built a house and said, yeah, you can move in there now, it's not the same, right? Now, we, of course, are thinking maybe on an emotional level, but in my opinion, that's a decent enough analogy of, like, it's not the same. Just because you have a place to stay isn't necessarily the same. And whether you move a lot with the house tearing down or not, that moving itself it comes with its own shocks and stuff. Now imagine you're an animal and you don't understand why you have to leave a space, right? So, or why the space isn't natural like your old space used to be. Reforestation is good, but it has sometimes, not all efforts are bad, or not all efforts are imperfect, but most efforts have been in the past imperfect, and you can see evidence of that in, again, like satellite imagery and stuff. Sorry, this tangent's gone for way too long. My apologies. It's stuff I'm very passionate about, and I do apologize for not knowing slash and burn agriculture off like the back of my hand, basically. But it is stuff that leads into conversations that I'm very particular about. Now, again, with that said, slash and burn agriculture is important, right? Like, I don't know the situation in Madagascar, but maybe it's particularly important in creating a sustainable, food economy. Like, is it possible to successfully, farm in Madagascar without slash and burn? Quite possibly not. And if that's the case, well, how do we balance that out, right? How do we balance out the need for slash and burn agriculture and the deforestation that comes with it versus the literal habitats of these animals, right? Like, it's a tough conversation, and there's a lot to it, and it applies across the board for all animals across all nations and all continents and all everything, right? It's just like, well, how do you find that balancing act where we can sustain our own survivability, but not at the expense of the survivability of everything else, right, around us? Anyway, moving on to species data. Geez, that's just the general information. How's the species? Ooh, this is actually chunky. This is nice. See, I was starting to get a little worried because some of the North American animal, we don't even need to, actually the Binturong has a lot as well. The North America pack, in particular, I feel like had a couple of, did they rewrite some of these things? Why do I feel like they rewrote some of these things? Or I'm thinking about this? Yeah, these got a lot shorter with the America Pack DLC, so I'm glad to see that with the black and white ruffed lemur we have at least a bit more. Maybe it just feels like more because there's a paragraph break. Anyway, species data. Group size, 2 to 16, up to 1 male, up to 15 females. Male bachelor group size is 2 to 16, same for the females. Dominant system is matriarchal as well. Mating system is polygynous. Relation with humans is neutral, and guests can enter the habitat. Size, 24 inches tall when standing for males on average, 28 inches tall when standing for females on average. So it's a marginal difference. It's not that big of a difference. Life expectancy is 25 years across the board. Weight is 7.92 pounds on average for males and females both. Sexual maturity is at 2.5 years. Sterility is at 20. 1 to 4 offspring per mating event. 3-month gestation. 12-month interbirth. And reproduction in captivity is easy. All right, good stuff. Very similar to our other lemurs, right? Social needs. Black and white ruffed lemurs are social animals that form a variety of different group structures. Groups that, I'm kind of, hold on. I'm like, I am tempted. I am tempted to just see. All right, very different. Cool. I'm sure there are similarities, but like, this is not a copy paste job. You know what I mean? Like, this is especially the reproduction section. All right, sorry. Black and white ruffed lemurs are social animals that form a variety of different group structures. Group size usually varies based on food availability, large groups splitting into smaller subgroups if resources become scarce. Females are dominant in this species. In large groups, there may be communal nests into which multiple unrelated litters are placed and protected by all members of the group. Is that consistent across the board? Because there have been some animals that I've yeah, I remember like raising one another's young, so a lot of similarities across the group of lemurs, I suppose, right? Playful and friendly. I'm just curious here. Interrelated family groups reach adulthood. What do you talk about? Remain with their mother's group. Young males leave. Pregnant for infants carried by the mother. Here it doesn't mention if they take care of each other's young, so I do wonder if it is different. Or if it just wasn't mentioned because, you know, to make them a little different. Curious how what the decision-making process is for the copywriting. But yeah, females are dominant in the species in larger groups and communal nests. Right. Reproduction. The mating season of black and white ruffed lemurs is between May and July. Females are only in estrus for a brief period of up to 3 days, with an even shorter window of up to 12 hours in which she will allow males to mate with her. Wow, okay. Males will court females by approaching her with a lowered head and submissive submissive shrieks. Sorry, that just sounds funny. It just sounds funny. I'm like picturing it in my head, except I'm picturing it with this face, except the behavioral tendencies of like a capuchin, which I don't know how remotely, I don't know how that has come to pass, but that's how I'm picturing it, because I would say capuchin shriek. Anyway, males will court females by approaching her with a lowered head and submissive shrieks, which she may respond to with roars, bites, and other aggressive displays, even when allowing him to mate. Pregnancies last around 102 days, after which the female gives birth to a litter of young, 2 to 3 on average. After birth, infants are left in a small nest built and guarded by the parents, or a communal nest which is taken care of by all members of the group. Babies will remain in the nest until 4 weeks old, when they will start following their mother. Weaning occurs at around 4 months old, though may last up until the infant is 8 months old. Black and white ruffed lemurs reach sexual maturity at around 2 to 3 years old, though do not usually begin reproducing by this time. Males usually migrate to other groups, while females tend to stay in their natal group, though animals may also form and travel in pairs. Well, so if you've got, if you've got a female dominant system, right, what happens when the females are fully grown and will remain with their mother? Males will leave. Same thing with the red ruffed lemur, the ringtail lemur. Females remain with their mother's group for life. So how does the matriarch get deposed? Is it, because we've seen some animals will be like, oh yeah, the kids will frequently attack the matriarch and try to replace her. So, you know, the matriarch's got to stay strong, but no mention of anything like that over here. So is it just like a matter of like, okay, fine, once the matriarch dies, do they split into smaller groups? Does the eldest daughter inherit? Does the strongest daughter inherit? Like, how does that work for any of these lemurs, really? Because it's not, I don't think it's been explained for any. It just says that they live together while also stating it's a matriarchal society, right? Yeah, remain with their mother. The males leave. The males obviously seek another female to mate with, and then become a part of their troop, I suppose. But yeah, I'm just curious how succession works, as the case might be. All right, interesting. Research status, of course, we've got nothing on us. Now, there should be some research completing soon, so not only will we be reading this one Zoopedia entry, we'll be reading some fun facts today as well, hopefully. Interspecies enrichment, all right, fair enough. We were already aware of that. World records, are there already some being set? No? Oh, yeah, there we go. There are some being set. All right, fair enough. Let's go ahead and get ourselves some black and white ruffed lemur from the market. And are there any being traded by people? Because one thing I've been talking about for a while now is how, like, well, the market's kind of like calmed down a fair bit, right? But it does look like we've got people putting their lemurs up over here. So why don't we go ahead and get 2407. Well, this one's definitely better, though the name is all over the place. Why don't we go ahead and adopt you? Because I'm not about to put down 10k. Let's grab you. Let's go. Cool. In the trade center. And do we have a female? I love the different poses for the male versus the female. The female looks like she's on the prowl, whereas the male looks like he's kind of like leaning back and watching. I don't know if you guys see it as well, but like, I can see like the shoulder being out there and his like legs like up over here, and this leg's like laid out, and this arm's down here, and he's like on his elbow. Oh my god, I kind of want to like draw this out, but I can see this being like a person laying down sort of, and their back is up, whereas the female is like, yeah, on the prowl, like a yeah, well, it's no other way to put it, on the prowl. Let's see. Ooh, really bad stats on these females, unfortunately, and I don't think we have another page to look at, do we? We do. Excellent. Give me like no female options here. Barely any. Mahara, all yellow across the board here. I feel like Valana from that second page was better. They're all from Frontier Zoo. At least we have one green in here. 33s across the board, 142. What about you? 50 and 33s across the board. Oh, 250s actually. Maybe Mahara is better. Nah, that 67 is kind of a big step up. Alright, cool. Let's adopt you. Sure. Over to our trade center. Go ahead and grab both of them and send them to quarantine, of course. Come on. The trade center. Okay, fair enough. Be that way. Wait, why can't I manage you? Hold on, what's going on here? What's going on here? Weird. Did those systems break with this update? I hope not, because I love them. I thought they were fantastic. I'd hate for them to have broken. Alright, let's head on over to our quarantine. Pop you in there. And let's get these guys in. And see how they feel about their space. Otherwise, I think things are going pretty smoothly at Elite Zoo South right now. It's kind of funny. I was hoping that we'd kind of be wrapped up by the time JWE2 came out, and then I could more easily kind of balance my schedule. But of course, things don't work out that way. Of course, things don't work out that way. And who were we close to being done researching? Don't believe we finished them. The common ostrich is close, but it wasn't them. Now, of course, we have our African savanna elephant as well. A new addition that needs researching. The Nyala still needs researching. Ooh, what's I would trying to remember can't remember for the life of me. The black wildebeest is almost done being researched as well. I could have sworn there was some animal that we were one step away from having full research on, as opposed to two, as seems to be the case with most of them. Ooh, we got some overcrowding over here with the jaguars. I don't think we need too much of a management session or anything like that. We need some management, but we don't need like a full-on management session, because overall, we did one relatively recently. Overall, I think things are pretty well organized and operating smoothly enough right now. Let's go ahead and get Mom and Dad staying, the rest of you over to the trade center. Let's go. And our bonobo has escaped over here. Now, this has happened quite a bit lately, so we've obviously got to fix this. They're able to jump across up to here, which is just like... You didn't used to be able to do that. Why did that change? Alright, a barrier. It's not the end of the world, because all we really have to do is... Wait. How are you able... What counts as an escape here? Shift that up a little bit, maybe. Shift this over a little bit. Is it like while they're jumping? Is this like not high enough or something? I'm actually not sure what the issue is there. Because he's well within his habitat. Oh, that's what's happening. He's crossing over this way. Right. Okay, fair enough. Completely missed that. There we go. That, I think... Oh, no. Do that then. Oh, I see. It's blending with this. Well, that's fun. Okay. If we can't figure this out. See if we can't figure this out. Do that, maybe. Yeah, let's go ahead and add one in here. We can move you out like that. Cool. Just to make sure that doesn't count as an escape when someone gets to the edge there. You know what, why don't we go ahead and move this actually further over. Closer to the middle, basically, of the water. Cool. That'll do the trick. Got our animals done with quarantine. Go ahead and get both of you over to your new homes. You heard that shriek from the capuchin? Carries real high, doesn't it? Alright, here we go. Over to Persimian Plaza. Cool. Glad the name still works. Also, one of my like... I do quite like the treatment on the name over here. That flare, though, it's brighter than it's ever been. Guess the camera needs to adjust? I don't know. But very, very cyberpunk. Actually, it's kind of funny thinking about the sign, because it makes me think of Cyberpunk, like the game, and how that went down. Persimmon Plaza works a lot better than that, so yeah, at least there's that. But wow, it is really bright. It's a really, really bright hotspot over here. Oh my god. I wonder if I want to, like, lower the brightness a bit or something. Right? Because, like... Jesus, bright. Select all of you. Light color. Go ahead and... There we go. That's a lot more reasonable. Yeah, there we go. Let's do that. An easy color to remember as well. Like the hex code of. Down over here. Scoop all you up. Missed one. There we go. There we go. There we go. Come on. Come on. There we go. Cool. Over to you. That is much more reasonable. Still very bright, but at least it's not like as blinding as it was. It's actually still really bright. I'm not gonna fiddle with that any further. I think we've fiddled enough. Where is... There we go. I do quite like this space. Have they been added? It's gonna be hard to tell, isn't it? Well, Buddy's gonna come around and through here when they do get added. Let's see. Middle of the night, they all look black and white. Alright, where is the entrance again? There it is, right next to the hotspot. Animals. Alright, the new guys haven't arrived yet. I guess the best way to catch them arrive is staying over here and just seeing the keepers bring them in. I do hope we now have like enough keepers and stuff as well to like just try and maintain some of this stuff. Alright, common ostrich is almost done. You know what might end up happening is by the time these guys get added in, we'll just have a bunch of Zoopedia, or sorry, research to read. Fun facts. Not really. Common ostrich looks like the only one that's close to being done. Oh, there we go. Person coming through, stepping out, coming around this way, only to drop the animal off, right? Yeah, there they are. Love it. Alright, here we go. Here we go. Got the UI. Right at sunrise over here. Oh, look at that placement. Perfect. Oh, look at that. The confetti in the background, in the middle of a leap over here. Just about to start bounding out. Bounding forward, rather, I suppose. Very dark, but apart from the brightness. Quite pleased, quite pleased. Off you go. There's number 2. Alright, good stuff. I mean, yeah, again, you can see how they look kind of similar to the red ruffed lemur, except with a different skin, right? Like, different coloration. So, not like the biggest thing to add to the game, but still, like, completely, like, extra, you know? They didn't need to do it, but it was a nice way to celebrate, and here we are. We've got ourselves a new animal, and some new, like, construction elements as well, right? Like, the cupcakes are completely new. I thought more was new with that new bake shop than is actually the case, but the cupcakes are new, so that's cool. And I just think it's neat that they would go the extra mile to celebrate 2-year anniversary. You know, for most developers, 2 years, okay, whatever. The game's getting old now. People are moving on. We don't need to put effort into it, but they came through and, and went above and beyond. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. Almost down over here. Oh, they'll fit right in. They'll fit right in. Love the run animation. You know, we don't spend enough time with the animals these days. Don't spend enough time with the animals these days. Alright. That's because there's always work to do. There's always some job or the other that needs tackling and handling and taking care of. Alright, good stuff. We're close to... I wonder if we can't get the ostrich in before we dive into a time-lapse today. It'd be nice to read some fun facts, because it has been some time since we've done that. It has been some time since we've done that. Now, I've actually received some great name suggestions. Oh, hold on. Hang on a second. Oh, are you kidding me? Okay, look at that. Oh, look at that. That's so good. I mean, I like it. I'm not one to typically like toot my own horn and just celebrate my own work. I'm very, again, those of you that are familiar with the channel will know this about me already, but like every once in a while something will strike me as like, wow, you know what? I'm pleased. And this is one of those. Look at that, right? Look at that. Oh, it's like you get like a postcard out of this. And most of the heavy lifting is being done, let's be honest, by the lighting engine over here, right? So kudos to the developers. But like, damn, that's great. You got like the atmospheric effects and stuff. You got the light just coming onto this so nicely. You got the soft shadowing over there, and you've got like the shadow like falling onto this as well. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, I'm really happy with that actually. Kind of makes me wonder if I don't want to like put a lattice down across this whole thing. I think it's I don't think that's necessary. I don't think it's the right call. But I'm just curious. I wonder how the shadow would the shadows plural rather would fall. Ooh, or across the top. Hang on a second. Because there are these like lattice structures. You know what? If it's too small, if the lattice was a little bit larger, I would consider it. Because it would actually be a manageable task at the scale of the zoo as well. Because it's not just about the individual element itself, right? We've done some ridiculously massive undertakings, but at the scale the zoo is at right now, it would be. I think it would set the computer on fire. Oh, look at that though! Damn. Oh man. Sorry, I know I take some time with these sometimes, but it is nice to just like take it all in. I don't know if y'all feel the same way. If you'd rather I don't do this, but for me at least, again, it's franchise mode, so it's not like I can just save it and come back to it later, right? I gotta enjoy it in the moment, and I like sharing those moments in this playthrough. So I hope y'all feel the same way. But like, really, I mean, wow, there you go. You know, there's our poster right there for Elite Zoo South, right, for this season. Like visit. I can't think of it right now. I've done a lot of copywriting in my day, but I could see you get some copy up over here, right? Like maybe at like an angle. Then you've got like you'd have to crop this obviously, or you'd make it a bit taller basically. But the bottom third would have your body copy that explains, you know, what we do at Elite Zoo South and all that kind of stuff. But I could see it. This is nice. Either that or it's a postcard, right? Or both. You beauties. All right, cool. Sorry, I'm done gushing. That was, I mean, geez, that was something though. This is a view, right? This is a view, and it's not just about the sun either. It is about how like the shadows are cast and how this catches the light, and it's got that curve to it and stuff. I was really pleased with that. I do apologize for the distractions, but I was really pleased with that. And like I said, I am a little all over the place today as well. It's so nice as well, just like the way it catches these leaves and stuff on the tree, and just like look at that. Look at all that in the distance there. My god, I could stare at this game for a very long time, even just over here, right? And we've got a couple of beautiful locations, right? Oh, look at how the flaring there kind of like just burns the top of the rock there. We've been up to some crazy stuff at Elite Zoo South. All right. I would like to see if we get lucky enough. I guess not. All right, fair enough. Folks, I think there are a couple of things that we can tackle in a time-lapse really quickly over here. There are a few things that I wanted to do. It'll be a shorter time-lapse than usual. Again, this episode has kind of gone the unexpected path over here with the new inclusions, and I did want to take a look at some of those things. But we can still get a time lapse in. We can still get some of the stuff I want to get done this session, and the next session we can take a look at adding our. Well, I mean, let me ask you guys, what would you like to see next session? Would you like to see the addition of this space over here? There was actually, I'm curious about something here. Was the I don't remember what animals we have left to add from the base game. The proboscis monkey has been brought up a couple of times, but this was added as a part of a DLC, right? If memory serves me right, this was a part of the DLC. I'm trying to remember exactly which animals we have left from the base game, just so I can organize my approach properly. Whether we have the DLC animals afterwards or not, that's a different conversation. But I just want to make sure we get all the animals on the like on the channel, I guess, first before we start having repeat animals, so to speak. And I do believe there are a couple of left. I know there's a lot of the creepy crawlies and stuff left, and for them we have a plan for a nice big plaza over here. And what I'm thinking is next session we either do a beauty pass, a bigger beauty pass, right? That's option one. Option two is we make like a creepy crawly house over here, right? I've got some ideas for how I want to execute that. So one is a beauty pass, two is that, and three I would say is to continue building our wayfinding, which I see many of you are interested in seeing continue. So we could do that. We could do the lighting that comes with it, though. This is as expected, right? This has gotten extremely large and perhaps even too large. But it was almost always going to be the case if I'm being realistic. We can see how much we can catch up, I guess, because it is a really nice system. And I do like how it looks at night, but it is massive. It's a huge undertaking, as it always was going to be. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what you'd like to see next session be dedicated to. But with that said, though, let's go ahead with today's time lapse. Again, it might be a bit of a shorter one than usual, but let's get some stuff done, and then we'll see if we can't get maybe some fun facts out before we call it a session. But folks, with that said, in this beautiful lighting, sorry, beautiful lighting, it's time lapse time. All right, folks, I am really excited for this time lapse because in a relatively short time lapse, I mean, it's not a short one, it's still it's almost a full-length time lapse. Calling it shorts may be unfair, but in an almost full-length time lapse, I feel like we get more than a full-length time lapse's worth of work done. It's actually a very efficient time lapse, you could say, and I quite like the end results as well. First order of business is the sponsor board implementation. We have a couple of new sponsors that we're adding today, both for the African elephant. The first is Emilia. Now, this was actually a request that came about a year ago or so. Luke Casey, I don't know if you still watch Elite Zoo South. I'm not sure if you're keeping up with it or not, but this was a request that came through about a year ago. It is from Emma Bates. It's for Luke Casey, and we're getting Emilia's sponsor board implemented over here, as the elephant was the only one of the desired options that's actually available in the game. So I wanted to make sure we implemented that as the first sponsor board for these elephants, because it was requested, as I said, a year ago. I hope all is well, buddy. And if you are watching, of course, I hope all's well. I mean, even if you're not watching, but if you are watching, then you're hearing me. If you're not watching, then hopefully, you get a little sense that it's been brought up and maybe you come across this episode and give it a watch. But apart from Emilia, we also have Shroom Vroom, who wanted to sponsor the elephants. So we've got Emilia and Shroom Vroom sponsoring the elephants with some... I wish... I think I do spend some more time on them. No, you know what? I don't. Damn. Normally I go back after the time lapse and I zoom in on the on everything we did and we talk about it a little bit, but this time I do believe I do that after the time lapse, but I don't think I go up close to the sponsor boards, unfortunately, after the time lapse. But I'm quite happy with the sponsor boards. They actually implement the small elephant sculpture into them. I would say it looks like a relief, except it's a bit too exaggerated for it to be a relief. Like it's more like a sculpture. Well, this is where it gets difficult to define the difference between all those, the arguable difference. But it's not an emboss. It's not just a relief. It goes beyond that. But it uses the small elephant to create this sort of like sculptural element. And then I quite like how the plaster and the wood works together. I quite like the typography on the coloration and the typography as well. I thought that all worked really nicely, and I do wish I went to it after the time lapse to kind of like point some of that stuff out, but I'm sure you'll catch it at the end of the time lapse, or if you want to like step back a couple of seconds and take a look at it, because I do hold the frame on there a couple of times. But yes, Shroom Vroom and Emilia, thank you very much for sponsoring the elephants at Elite Zoo South. They are going to be well taken care of with your assistance. Every time we do the sponsor boards, and I know it's once a month for the last year and a half now, a year and 3/4 of a year. I love the idea. It wasn't mine. It was suggested to me in the comments, and I absolutely love it because it's such a realistic thing to integrate and to implement, and it just adds that extra kind of layer. Now, I do want to mention, if I manage to somehow miss your request, please don't hesitate to, give me a poke, point it out to me in the comments, or, shoot me. If you shot me a DM and I missed it on Patreon, then leave a comment saying like, hey, check your DMs, buddy. Like, don't hesitate to do that and let me know that I missed something. But I don't think I did. I read all the comments, again, as I always do. I read all the comments. I double and triple checked. And of course, I check my notes again. Like when I say I take notes, I do take notes. Sometimes I'll lose my notes, and I mention it when that does happen. But like I said, I had this note from a year ago, and so like I do take notes when I say I take notes. So if I miss something, I apologize. Hard for me sometimes to fathom how that might have happened, but stuff happens. It does happen. So feel free to let me know in the comments. But apart from the sponsor boards and stuff like that, I've got the education boards set up as well, and the donation bins get set up as well. I think I do that afterwards, actually, like after this little section over here, because this immediately just brings life to the space, literally and metaphorically speaking, I guess, or literally and visually speaking. The addition of green breaks the beige and whites and just like I don't want to call it bland, because it's not bland, but like the browns and sandy colors and stuff like that, they feel a little bland at times, for lack of a better word. But the green just adds this beautiful vibrancy to the space. And the lighting right now is doing so many favors. And I gush about that after the time lapse for a little bit, so I'm not going to do it now as well. But I do really like how this space looks with the added vegetation. I think with the fact that we can't have too much vegetation within the enclosure itself is fortunately not a limiting factor, because outside of it we have so much empty space to work with and play with. And so I spent a fair bit of time actually adding a bunch of these trees, making a few of them look like bushes and stuff like that as well. I tried to stay accurate to the types of trees that would be found in the region and in the climate and stuff like that. But since we're outside of the enclosure, we don't have to worry about what's the word I'm looking for? The limitations, I guess, of the animal or what have you. But yeah, pretty pleased with how this space looks, especially so now with the added color contrast and the punchiness and the vibrance that the trees bring as well. Hoping to see a lot of guests over here, and I have some plans for the area around this space that I'll touch on after the time lapse as well. But right now, getting the education boards implemented, getting some donation bins down as well. It's funny, I was actually kind of like, I don't even need donation bins anymore. We have so much money, we're making so much money, but let's try and maintain the fact that it is a real franchise location, and we do need to make an income. But folks, that is it for today's time lapse. Again, like I said, short but efficient. We got a lot done. For now, it's back to regular speed. All right, folks, we are back from the time lapse, and I'm pretty pleased with just how much of an impact it actually made. It was a shorter time lapse than some of our usual time lapses, but that's not to say it didn't do a lot of work. I feel like adding all those trees, for example, made a world of difference. Oh man, this lighting is absolutely killing me with how beautiful it looks. The further away I go, the prettier it gets, which is not to say, it almost sounds like an insult. It's like, yeah, the farther away I am from you, the nicer you look. It just sounds like a horrible insult, but that's not what I mean. I just mean the more we get to see, the nicer it looks. I mean, oh my God, look at the way the light catches the curve over there. I am absolutely in love with how this space looks. That's not to say the rest of our zoo doesn't look great as well, but there's just something about those curved faces and the way the light just catches that curve over there. Oh my God, really pleased with it. But sorry, I know I've already talked about that so very much, but it just, now that it's got all the green and stuff behind it as well, you get this really nice kind of yellowish kind of beige tone, and then you get the green, but the green also has the yellow warmth to it at first. It's just, oh man, Look at that. Oh, look at that. I could honestly, I'm sorry I'm doing this. I am, but I could just stay paused and just kind of look at this space from multiple different angles right now and just kind of take it all in and just enjoy the the views. They have created a very beautiful game. They have created a very beautiful game. You could just stare at this for so long. Yeah, you know, I like this space a lot. It might actually be a like surprise favorite for me. Like I like a lot of our spaces. We've got a lot of really cool structures. We've got a lot of really cool natural spaces and stuff as well. But this one's just like standing out so very much, and the lighting's doing a lot of the heavy lifting here for sure. Maybe it's partly a time of day kind of a thing, but like, look at that. Anyway, okay, sorry. I keep doing it. I apologize. Okay, we're done. Stepping away. Very productive time lapse though. We got the trees, and I think again that makes a very, very big difference. Just want to quickly go over what we accomplished in that time lapse, because sometimes I've realized they go by too quickly, even with my commentary. It just kind of like happens, and there's some things that like flash by, but while I'm actually doing them during the time lapse, I go, oh, I really want to like make sure people notice this or whatever it might be, right? Like as an example, like I quite like how the green back there just like accentuates that shape back there. So I really quite like how that plays out. Once we have our stuff over here, we'll add some more trees back up over here as well. There are a few more animals to add though, right? Let's not forget that either. So hopefully we'll like add them somewhere up over here or something, and then we can move the trees accordingly as needed. Now, some of you were suggesting again that I maybe get another zoo entrance placed in as well. This is something that came up before the North America Pack DLC came, and it's come up again with the latest episode in the comments. And that's not something I want to like say no to or anything like that. It's still something that's on my mind as well. I just want to make sure I do it justice. Now, the suggestion was that maybe, you know, it doesn't have to be a proper zoo entrance. Maybe just hides behind like inside like a toilet or something, and so people just like teleport in from the toilet, and it just looks like they're leaving the washroom, which is very clever. I have to say that's a very, very clever way of doing it, because it's like, yeah, you know, it's just people leaving the washroom is how it would look visually. So you can't see, but I'm smiling and nodding. It's a very cheeky idea. It's very clever. But I think if I were to add a second entrance to the zoo, I would want it to be a bit more done up. And that's why I think I'm sort of hesitant about doing it. With that said, though, we did see during the time lapse, we did see a couple of people over here already. If I can just find them. Yeah, we got a couple people over here already. So hopefully that'll increase. And as we add some like stores and some more like exhibit animals and stuff over here, hopefully it'll encourage more people to come up over here. But yeah, we added some of the education boards. We got some donation bins in as well. Nothing on the second floor yet. Maybe I should add some education boards and stuff on the second level, but I just want to see how many people actually come through, and I want to see how people start interacting with the space before I dedicate too much, I shouldn't say money, because money's not an issue, but dedicate too much just in general to that upper level there. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty pleased with how that's turned out. Again, next session, we might either do thing number 1, which is just like an overall beauty pass, right? Including naming the... So either way, I want to try and name the enclosure next time. I don't know if I mentioned this before or during the time lapse, but I might be a broken record, but I'll mention it again now. I've got a name that I quite like, and so I have it penned down. I have it selected, but I figured I'd give some people more time to come up with some name suggestions, because I've noticed in the past when I give it a couple of goes, some folks feel a bit more comfortable with like throwing some suggestions in there. I don't know if it's about comfort or if it's like, or what it might be, but like I feel like if I give it a bit more time, then we get some more suggestions, and it feels a bit more, you know, like everyone is getting involved. Not to force anyone's hand if you don't want to be involved in that process, of course, but I find waiting sometimes just helps get some more options in there. But I do have one that's like, I said penned in, I should say penciled in, but I have one sort of picked out. So what I'll do is next session, we'll definitely get the name in. Whether it's that one or a new one that comes around, we'll pick a favorite, and we'll get. Hey, we've been paused on my birthday. I did not notice that earlier. It just now caught my eye. It's my birthday. Sorry. Yeah. So we'll get that in there next session for sure, regardless of what else we end up doing. But we're either doing a full-on like beauty pass to a couple of spots in the zoo, or we're adding the new space up over here with all the exhibit animals and stuff like that, or we are working on our lighting, and that includes wayfinding, but it also includes just lighting in general up over here. We haven't got any lighting going on. I think there's a couple of spots where we could do up like with a bit of lighting. But with that time lapse done, and with the new lemurs added as well, I think we're actually going to call it a session over here, folks. We've got a pretty productive session actually. We got a lot done. We got a lot added in, and even the time lapse, which I thought was going to be not as productive, ended up being quite a heavy lifter. What are you looking at? What's going on over there? What do you see? What do you see in that wall? But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how today's session went. I hope you all are as well. If you are, you know what to do. Let me know down below with a like and a comment. As always, it makes a massive difference. Just let me know what y'all are interested in watching on the channel. Let me know as well, again, what you think about the scheduling stuff that I was talking about in terms of JWE2 and Planet Zoo. Let me know what you think about our next session's time-lapse focus, what you think it should be. Keeping my eyes peeled as always to see what y'all feel and how we shall tackle things next. My God, this lighting though. Folks, I hope you had a good time with this session. Again, like I said, if you did, leave that like, leave that comment down below. As always, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big ol' thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.